Welcome back to another episode of Buzzworthy Businesses. I'm your host, John Visser, and today with me, I don't have one, but two guests. So let me start and introduce you to the first one, Todd Davis from Aventra Enterprises. Todd, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm wonderful and awesome and looking forward to this interview.
Well, so are we. We are very, very interested in what you're doing. So here you go. Let us know.
So I created my business as a byproduct of a lot of businesses having issues with figuring out their pathway. So really it was an accident how I created it. I created it on the premise that every business is an idea and it just needs to have the engine to be able to figure out what its way is. So I do consulting and coaching on whatever stage you're at in business. So if it's idea stage all the way to IPO. The difference though is the infrastructure that you need, whether it's operations, marketing, management. I try to figure out what that niche is, identify it, and then close the gap on the resource. And that to me is the arc of how a business actually grows. So that's how I started it. It was just an accident. And now I do it on a regular basis. I try to seek out businesses, whatever stage they're at, and identify where they need to go and how long and how fast they can get there.
So Todd, before the show started, you and me had a discussion about this, and you gave me some examples. So we're going to circle back to that because I want the audience to hear. But I would like to introduce my second guest today. Is not the first time he's been on my show, Mr. Adam W. Barney. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Thank you, John. Great to see you again, and I'm happy to be here, Todd, and get to meet both of you and talk to you today.
Wonderful. Now, Todd, I know you've seen on the screen there, he says he's an energy coach, and if you think it's got anything to do with oil and gas, my friend, it's not. Adam, why don't you tell us more about what you're doing?
Sure, you've heard this before, John, but I'd love to say it's about mystical stones and sorcery. Maybe I'll bring that into my practice in the next 5 or 10 years. But it's really about how I've worked with hundreds of emerging and established leaders and grown energy and accountability towards their goals. It's really about helping those leaders double their energy. That leads to confidence, achieving sustainable growth, and then improve also just performance and speed of their ability to recover and stay accountable and be productive.
That's one of the things that every business owner, CEO, or director is struggling with, and it's time management. But before we talk a little bit more about that, Todd, we spoke, and you told us about timing, and sometimes you arrive too late, or sometimes you arrive early. You gave me an example. Would you mind giving that example to the audience there?
Yeah. So I was referred to a business by a friend of mine, and it basically was, again, it's usually an accident because businesses don't necessarily know like how to be able to grow themselves or accelerate themselves, or they don't know when they're in a muck. So I was referred to this business. It basically was two businesses run by one person, and essentially he was trying to make both businesses work, and they were failing. He was failing to the tune of $500,000. And I had 30 days to basically help him to resolve his debt, separate the two businesses, and then figure out, I basically did a business turnaround. So it wasn't working with a started business, it was an existing business. So I had 30 days to do all this and then set him on a pathway. That's a for instance, when I arrived too late because a lot of the damage had already been done and it was unrepairable. But I did the best I could to manage it. Like he was able to kind of get out of, he didn't have to go to bankruptcy. He was able to get out of debt eventually, but that was arriving too late. So sometimes I arrive on time, sometimes I arrive too early, sometimes I arrive too late, but I still try to get to some type of a result.
Now, Todd, thank you so much. And the lesson we want to take, or the information we want to take from this, is that Todd not only specializes in marketing or specializes in growth, but he also can do turnarounds, help businesses that's in trouble. Adam, on your end, how did you decide to become an energy coach?
Basically, it's the path that I followed. I mean, I published my first book last year that's called Make Your Own Glass Half Full, The Empowered Path to Optimism and Autonomy. And those are really the two key tools that I think can help drive anyone, no matter background or experience, to make an impact on the world. So, that's the path I've followed. That was, driven from a 20-year nonlinear corporate marketing career. Through that, I was absorbed by layoffs and dealt with stress and burnout over that. And that led me on this path to say, I think there's a real way to manage these different pieces, especially for, again, entrepreneurs, emerging leaders, and people who are even in high power executive positions leading teams.
Todd, Adam, I can spend hours talking to the both of you. You guys have interesting lives, interesting businesses, but unfortunately our time on the show has now come to an end. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you to the viewers at home and at the offices for joining in. If you want to see more businesses like those of Todd and Adam, please log on to the Daily News Network. Until next time.